you're in London to meet with Boris Johnson. President Zelensky and Boris Johnson will meet. You'll be there as part of the discussions as well. You have a deal with the European Union, but Brexit has really muddied the waters on what your relationship will be with the UK going forward. What do you want out of this meeting?
Thank you very much. I believe that we can also reshape our nearest relations with Britain. I know that Great Britain is our one of major partners, and I believe that next meeting will held our President Zelensky with Boris Johnson will show our great commitments to be partners with Great Britain. And I think that we are able and committed to sign a deal, sign an agreement with Great Britain on some Commonwealth, trade, etc., which help to facilitate our relations.
You also want to ask about the IMF, the next tranche of IMF funds. It's unclear when it will arrive. Do you have to potentially tap the debt markets?
We're in constant negotiations with IMF. We just met with IMF team several times per week. We discuss our budget 2021, our existing questions. I believe we successfully fulfilled all necessary conditionalities. First of all, it's our ability to show that we're eager to continue our gas market. Also, we did some successful implementation of NPL loans. And also, we already created single entity, legal entities, bodies in state tax and customs. So we did our best to show our great commitments to have a safeguard deal with IMF.
So you expect that those funds to
We expect those funds till the end of the year.
And will you have to take any sort of roadshow virtually, given the pandemic?
I don't think that in this particular period of year we'll need this. So now it's a question of our ability to fulfill our needs by themselves. I believe that we can find our financial needs in our internal market. And if we need to borrow, it could be some maybe concessional loans and nothing else. So I don't think it's a good time for us to go into the international capital market. We have successfully borrowed this year already. It was one of the most successful borrowing from maybe 10 years previous perspective. So I believe that we need to be honest with our partners. And if we need to finance our deficit, it will be maybe in a reliable time in a reliable price for us.
Speaking of partners, under the Obama administration, Ukraine borrowed some $3 billion. I believe you paid back $1 billion of that. Do you think you'd have to ask the U.S. for more assistance?
We already asked them that we need some more assistance from their side. It's a question of discussion. They deliberated later. And now I just want to stress that in September, we was able to repay our debt, $2 billion, without any external support.
We have a U.S. election in just under a month's time. Do you think these negotiations would change if we were to see a Biden administration?
Ukraine should deal with that kind of person who American citizens choose. It doesn't matter who will be the president of the United States for us. We should find ability to communicate, to discuss, and to gain some successful deals with all presidents will choose American citizens.
It's not often, though, that you see Ukraine really at the center of American politics, which we saw under the Trump administration. I know you came after that investigation, of course, which revolved around that July 25th phone call. You became finance minister well after that. But how are relationships right now with the Trump administration?
I believe that we have sound and clear relations. But from my side, we had a good contacts with IMF team, first of all. So for financial side, I believe we in a very honest manner can discuss all our issues. So for a president, I know they also have good relations for this particular time. If you look at perspective, because you know that it's tough time for American election, and I don't think that it's a good time to have a connection with Trump, with Zelensky, Trump. But if needed, they can call to each other.
If needed, President Zelensky could call President Trump and ask for assistance.
Of course.
And he'd feel the same way about calling, say, a President Biden.
I think so.
Do you start planning if there was a change in administration? Does the cabinet start planning what that would look like?
I just want to stress what I mentioned, what I tell you before, that we should be able to work at that kind of president, that United States will elect it. It's not a Ukrainian case to even. We will be working with Trump as well as with Biden.
Prepared for either or. I want to quickly ask you about Nord Stream 2, because gas revenue is so important to Ukraine. Do you think we'll see the light of day? Merkel may come under pressure to at some point scrapping it. We just had lines out of Poland saying they're going to go against Gazprom because of this. Do you think we will see a Nord Stream 2?
No, it's our national interest to safeguard our ability to transfer gas from our east part of Ukraine to the west. And our idea is to be a reliable partner for European countries. And so I believe we can manage to fulfill our gas tube with necessary gas. That's why Nord Stream 2 is like a little bit make us nervous about our future. But I believe that it's all in our hands. If you will be able to safeguard necessary conditions to transfer gas to the Europe, we will be happy. But anyway.